Any of the trials, apparent patients didn't really exist. Oh, that's bad. The ivermectin COVID study retracted because of a file mix-up. The paper appeared in the journal Viruses. What's the impact factor? Oh, this is a good journal. According to the abstract, a randomized control trial was conducted in 100 asymptomatic Lebanese subjects that tested positive for SARS-CoV-2. It was COVID. 50 patients received a standard preventative treatment, mainly supplements, and the experimental group received a single dose of ivermectin in addition to the same supplements of the control group. In addition to the same supplements the control group received. Okay. Ivermectin appeared to be efficacious through the clinical benefits in the randomized treatment of asymptomatic SARS-CoV-2 positive subjects, effectively resulting in fewer symptoms, lower viral load, and reduced hospital admissions. However, large-scale trials are warranted for this conclusion to be further cemented. The study was found to have blocks of details of the 11 patients that had been copied and pasted repeatedly, suggesting many of the trials, apparent patients didn't really exist. Oh, that's bad. I thought this was going to be like a file mix-up, like we copied over the wrong data, or we copied over pilot data. This is like we invented data. So that's really bad. The study's authors told the BBC that the original set of data was rigged, sabotaged, and mistakenly entered in the final, and they have submitted a retraction to the scientific journal which published it. That's not quite what the retraction notice states. The journal retracts the article. Following publications contacted the editorial office regarding an error between the files used for statistical analysis. Adhering to the complaints procedures, to our complaints procedure, an investigation was conducted that confirmed the error reported by the authors. The authors agreed to the retractions. Okay, so this is also bad, because now you have two conflicting statements. One statement being that the BBC said, yo, you have like the same copy and paste of data multiple times in your study, and the patients you apparently tested don't actually exist. The BBC said this, right? They looked into it. Their, science desk or whatever. The authors went out and they said, okay, well, we're found out something's wrong. And apparently the authors said to the BBC that, oh, it was a sabotaged file, which would imply that they had the real data, that they had the real stuff, and that the data that was being shown was wrong. But implicitly, they're trying to say or suggest that the conclusions were still sound. But here, the retraction doesn't indicate anything about, weird patient stuff. It indicates statistical analyses were not sound, that there was an error in reporting, and therefore the conclusions based off the statistics, based off the results, are not actually conclusive, are not actually in support of their argument. So on one side, BBC, who has literally nothing to lose, said, hey, you got some wrong shit in your paper. It looks like your patients are not real. Then you have the authors saying, like, oh no, they're real. We just have the wrong data. And now they're saying, oh wait, the data's all fucked. So what is it? You could put the wrong file name in your script. True. I mean, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. From the smallest mistakes, if we just assume that there were like copying and pasting errors, then maybe this is all true. The person who submitted stuff submitted the wrong stuff, and the stuff that was submitted also had statistical errors. On the more malicious side, they're trying to hide, right? Ali Samaha of Lebanese University in Beirut, the lead author of the study, told us, this is Retraction Watch, it was brought to our attention that we have used the wrong file for a paper. We informed immediately the journal and we have run investigations. After revisiting the raw data, we realized the file that was used to train a research assistant was sent by mistake for analysis. Okay. Reanalyzing the original data, the conclusions of the paper remain valid for transparency. We asked for retraction. About the BBC report, the BBC article was generated before the report of independent reviewers who confirmed an innocent mistake by using the wrong file. Samaha added that he and his colleagues are now considering whether to resubmit the paper. The article has been cited 4 times, including a meta-analysis, which concluded that moderate certainty evidence finds that large reductions in COVID deaths are possible using ivermectin. Using ivermectin early in clinical trials may reduce the numbers of progressing to severe disease. The apparent safety and low cost suggest that ivermectin is likely to have a significant impact on COVID pandemic globally. That article was a social media darling, receiving more than 45,000 tweets, picked up by 90 news outlets. Blah blah blah. Okay, so the issue here, BBC finds that there's some fake shit going on. The authors say it's not fake shit. Something may have been mistakenly entered in the final file. They go back and they rerun the analysis and find that the analysis that they ran apparently is sound. Reanalyzing the original data, conclusions remain valid. Okay. However, even though they remain valid, they don't know if they're going to resubmit the paper, which is a little weird. Because if the statistics are all sound, why not resubmit the paper? All that was wrong was an innocent mistake. So if there's just an innocent mistake, just resubmit the paper, right? Like, it's a good journal, it's good results. Just do it. And the issue here, obviously, is like 2 issues. One, when they were training a research assistant, they have this like mock file of like, hey, here's some like fake data. Here's some fake data, and we want to make sure that you know how to do like analysis, or we want to make sure you know how to like munge the data so like we can do the analysis or whatever. So they're training their research assistant to do this. It doesn't surprise me that this could happen, even to people who are extremely meticulous about their data collection, right? I sympathize for this lab and this particular author because retractions suck. It's an academic death sentence a lot of the time. Hopefully an innocent mistake by sending in a wrong file. However, it is a little sussy baka when there is an innocent mistake and they are thinking that they might not resubmit the paper. That gets weirder. That gets weirder to me. Like, if my pilot data was submitted instead of my actual experimental data, and some third-party reviewer was like, yeah, we looked at the data and this doesn't match up, like, even the subject numbers are different. Like, you report you had like 40 people in the study, and you sent a file with 10 people. You know, one, the red flags would go off like, oh shit, I sent you the wrong file. And then the second thing would be like, here's the right file, keep the train moving, because we put all the work into it. So let's keep it going, right? That just ends up not being the case here. And I don't know why. The larger, more impactful issue is like what this all means, right? And what this all means is that this is no different than the vaccines autism study work that happened with Andrew Wakefield a very long time ago. Wakefield publishes a study saying that vaccines may be a cause or correlate with autism. But that was scrutinized, data was scrutinized, and all sorts of holes were poked through the study, and there was a retraction for that study. But because the science went out, and because the work had been cited so many times, it became canon in a particular realm of experimentation. And since then, people have tried to replicate studies or show even more proof for something that starts with like erroneous claims. That's kind of what's happening here, where there is an erroneous claim, perhaps. They want to retract it because they see that there might be errors with it, but it's already too far gone. there are already other studies being published saying this is good work. And that's where things are getting dangerous. Because the only way to disprove this now becomes harder to do. That's a bummer. Lots of weird shit happening in this one. And even though they say their conclusions remain valid, they need to prove that in the court of science. I await for them to do that, and I await for other papers to corroborate their findings.